Hello, and welcome to another episode of Morning Mobility with NATEFIT, where we spend 15 minutes helping you create a movement habit. Today, we are going to focus on shoulders and spine. So, we're going to start off in our cat cow position. Our hands are going to be directly below the shoulders, knees directly below the hips. We're going to start off by going into extension and then flexion. So, extension is this. Flexion is this. We're going to try to create a nice wave up and down the spine. So we're going to start with our hips. We're going to rotate our hips down towards the ground into an anterior pelvic tilt. This is going to put our lower back or our lumbar spine in extension. And we're going to travel up the spine, now pressing the rib cage down, pulling that chest up. Then we're going to pick the head up, pick the chin up and look up as high as you can. This is full extension. And then we're going to reverse. We're going to tuck the chin, tuck the head, look between the legs, come up through the upper back as we push away from the ground, pulling that rib cage in, pulling our belly in, and tucking our tail between our legs. And we're going to reverse, rotating the hips down towards the ground, pressing the belly down, pressing the ribs down, picking that chest up, picking the head up, picking the chin up and looking up as high as we can. And reverse. Tucking the chin, tucking the head, looking between the legs as we push away from the ground, coming up through the upper back, pulling that rib cage in, pulling the belly in, and tucking our tail between our legs. We're going to go one more here. Rotating that pelvis down towards the ground in an anterior pelvic tilt. Pushing that belly down, pushing the ribs down, picking that chest up, picking the head up, picking the chin up, looking up as high as you can. Reverse. Tucking the chin, tucking the head, coming up through the upper back, pulling that rib cage in, pulling the belly in, and tucking our tail between our legs. Next, we're going to go right to thoracic spine cars. Keep working on the spine here. Again, you can kneel like this. If this is uncomfortable, put a pillow or yoga blocks to elevate your hips. If that's uncomfortable, sit in a chair. We're going to start off with the hands on the shoulders. We're going to tuck the rib cage down into flexion, nice and slow, controlling all of these movements. We're going to rotate, turning the shoulders to the side, dropping that shoulder down, extending up, flaring that rib cage as high as you can before we turn the other direction, dropping that elbow down to the hip, and coming back around in front, coming back to neutral, and let's start again. Flexion, tucking the rib cage down, rotation, turning your shoulders to the side, dropping the shoulder down into lateral flexion, extending up, pulling that rib cage up as high as you can, rotating the other direction, dropping the shoulder down to the hip, and coming back around in front. We'll do one more in that direction. A great cue for this is we're just drawing a big circle with our chest. Okay, last rep here. Tucking the rib cage down, rotating, dropping the shoulder down into lateral flexion, extending up, flare that rib cage as high as you can, rotating the other direction, dropping the elbow down to the hip, and coming back around in front, back to neutral, and 3 in the other direction. Flexing, rounding that back, turning the shoulders to the side in rotation, lateral flexion, extending up, rotating the other direction, dropping the elbow down to the hip, and coming back around in front, back to neutral. We have 2 more. Flexion, rotation, lateral flexion, extension, rotation, lateral flexion, coming back around in front. And one more here. Flexion, tucking the rib cage down, rotating to the side, dropping that shoulder down, extending up, rotating the other direction, dropping the elbow down to the hip, and back around in front. Okay, next we're going to do our shoulder carve from a quadruped position. So this one's going to limit our shoulder carves, but we're going to start off with a fist on the ground. We are going to raise up overhead. Again, I'll demonstrate this first one. Coming around, internally rotating, coming around behind the back with a straight elbow, and then down. And we're going to end it here and then reverse. So you can get into position. Arm out in front, straight elbow, make a fist, squeeze that fist. Pulling that arm up overhead. Coming around nice and slow. We're going to internally rotate, rotating that bicep down towards the ground, keeping that fist up as high as you can. Coming around into extension, keeping the elbow straight. And then we're going to drop down just below the hip. Elbow is pointed towards you at this point, and then we're going to reverse. Extension, bring that fist up as high as you can. Coming around, we're going to now externally rotate, rotating that bicep towards the ceiling as we come around. Overhead, elbow stays straight, and then coming down to the ground. That's one. We're going to do 3. Coming back up, flexion. Coming around, keep that fist high, always fighting for that height. Internally rotating, rotate that bicep down. Coming around behind the back, and then down to our side. And reverse. Extension, getting that fist up as high as you can. Coming around, carve that joint out and get that fist up. We're externally rotating now, rotating the bicep towards the ceiling as we come overhead and down. We have one more here, starting with flexion, raising up, overhead. Go till you feel a restriction and then start coming around, rotating that bicep down. It's actually going to be pointing towards you at this point, coming around behind the back and down to our side, and then reverse. Extension, nice and slow through this, fighting gravity, getting that fist up as high as we can, externally rotating now, pointing that bicep up towards the ceiling, coming overhead and down. We'll flip over to the other side. Okay, make a fist. Elbow is straight, coming directly overhead, high as you can. Coming around, elbow stays straight, internally rotating now, pointing that bicep towards you. Coming around behind, keep that fist high. And down to our side, or to the floor. And reverse. Extension, fist up as high as you can. Carve out and around as we externally rotate. Keeping that fist high as we come overhead. And down to the ground. That's one. Here we go again. Up high as you can. Coming out and around. Internally rotating here. Fight for that range. Get that fist high as we come as close to our side as possible. And down to the ground. And reverse. Extension, fist up as high as you can. Externally rotating, pointing that bicep up as we carve out and around, overhead, and down to our side. We have one more here. Coming up with a straight elbow, overhead, coming out and around. Keep that fist high, fight for that range the whole time as we internally rotate. Coming around behind into extension. And down to the ground. And reverse. Extension. External rotation. Fist stays nice and high. Coming around. Overhead. And down. Excellent. Next, we're going to go to rotation. We're going to do this from our thoracic spine car position. We're going to have our hands on our shoulders, and we're just going to rotate and look to the side. In some of our previous classes, we really worked on spine rotation. So you should notice a difference just focusing on rotation. A great cue for this is I want you to really pull the elbow and look behind you. We're going to do 5 in each direction. We're going to alternate. So we're going to go all the way this way, then all the way this way. Okay, you ready? Hands on the shoulders. Turning, pulling that elbow to the side, looking behind you. Pause. And coming back, going the other direction. Pulling that elbow back as far as you can. Look behind you. That's 2. We're going 10 total, 5 per side. Other side. Pull, pull, pull. Look behind you. Back to neutral. And switch. Pulling that elbow. Looking over. Good. That's 4. Other direction. Keep that chest nice and high as we rotate. That's 5. Rotating the other direction. 6. Other direction. 7. Look behind you. And reverse. You should notice you get a little further every time. Reversing. Pulling that elbow back, looking behind you. It's 9. And 1 more. Far as you can. And 10. Excellent. Next, we're going to go into shoulder external rotation. For this one, we are going to lie on the ground. Our elbows are going to be straight out from our shoulder. From here, we're going to externally rotate. So head is going to be in the ground. All we're going to do from this position is we're going to lift our wrists as high off the ground as possible. I'm going to switch sides because this shoulder is injured. It's not going to get quite as high. So for demonstration purposes, I'll face this way. Okay, your elbows are going to be at 90 degrees. Forehead in the ground. From here, again, all we're going to do is lift up as high as we can. You're trying to get that wrist up off the ground. You might feel a little bit of cramping sensation in your shoulders. We're going to do 5 reps. We'll hold at the top for about a second. Okay, getting ready. Again, wrists at 90 degrees, elbows out. Here we go. Lifting up. Pause. And down. That's 1. Coming up. Pause. That's 2. Again. Up. Pause. That's 3. Again. 4. And 1 more coming up. Pause. And down. That's 5. So again, in that one, we are isolating our shoulder in external rotation, really working on those external rotators. For some of you, that's not going to feel very comfortable. And then we're going to finish off with our normal shoulder cars. So this will allow us to get full range now, especially now that we've worked on that rotation. I really want you to focus on that in our shoulder cars. Bicep pointed out, elbow straight, coming across the midline, coming up into shoulder flexion, coming away from midline, internally rotating now, coming around behind into extension, and down to our side. Bicep should be pointed towards you, and reverse, extension, external rotation, bicep pointed up, coming nice and close to the ear. Biceps pointed up as we come across midline and down to our sides. And again, adduction, flexion, abduction, which is away from midline, internal rotation, rotating that bicep down. We're going to fight for that as we come around into extension and down to our side. And reverse with extension, external rotation, coming up into flexion, rotating that bicep towards the ceiling as we come across the midline and down to our side. And one more time here. adduction, flexion, bicep nice and close to the ear before we start coming away from midline, internally rotating, coming around behind and down to our side, and we'll reverse, extension, external rotation, flexion, adduction, bicep pointed up towards the ceiling as we come around and down. Other side, elbow straight, make a fist, create some tension in that arm, coming across the midline, up into flexion, coming away from midline, carve out as much of that joint as you can, internally rotating now, coming around and down to our side, and reverse with extension, external rotation, coming up into flexion, externally rotating as we come across the midline and down to our side. And again, we have 2 more to finish off. Create tension the whole time. Again, trying to get as much activation out of that tissue as possible. Internally rotating now, coming around behind and down to our side. And reverse tension, go till you feel a restriction. Externally rotating now, coming up nice and close to that ear as we turn the bicep towards the ceiling in external rotation and down to our side. We have 1 more. Adduction, flexion, elbows straight the whole time, coming around behind, internally rotating, behind our back, down to our sides, and reverse. Extension, external rotation, fight for that range, coming up nice and close to the ear, biceps pointed up as we come across the midline, and down to our side. And that is another episode of Morning Mobility with NATEFIT. Thank you for joining. Thank you for prioritizing your health. Please give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel. If you like any of the exercises, please comment. If you want more, rewind it and start again. And we will see you tomorrow morning.